Hey everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, and today we're going to be cracking open some Ultimate Fallout 4 slabs. But before we get started, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button down in the bottom corner there if you appreciate getting weekly comic content. I also post to Instagram and Twitter. If you don't follow me there, I do post content on there regularly as well. Having said that, let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, as you may have been able to tell from the thumbnail, we had 3 already slabbed copies of Ultimate Fallout 4 that we are going to be cracking open today. And I kind of wanted to address, 1, why somebody would do that, 2, how to do that, and then 3, kind of what the steps afterwards and what to kind of look for and stuff like that. So, show you the books that we have here first and foremost. We've got a CGC 8 Ultimate Fallout 4. These are all first print, by the way. CGC 8.5 and a CGC 9.0. Now, when it comes to modern books, like this book in particular, the prices of these books are very, very condition dependent. These books are newer. They're not going to have been rotated out of circulation very regularly. Collectors have been saving these and storing these and keeping them in pretty well preserved. So the expectation for that higher premium is that they are in a higher condition. So honestly, these books in a 9.0 and under are worth less actually than near mint copies would be raw. So as a general rule of thumb, when it comes to the newer books, and we'll talk about it in other videos as well, you don't really want to encapsulate books in the modern era if you don't expect them to get like usually 9.6 or better. 9.4 usually is pretty close to breaking even after you consider pressing costs and grading costs and shipping. And anything under 9.4, and honestly, you'll be costing yourself money to go and send it and get it encapsulated. So, like I said, if you haven't already, make sure you check out some of the videos that we have about ascertaining the specific condition of a book before you send it in as well. So then you're asking yourself, well, why, if those are the ones you're looking for, are you getting these books here? Are you just cracking them to resell them as raw books? That's a possibility and something that you can look to do as well. Sometimes you can find these 8.0s or 7.5s even sometimes listed on eBay, and they will go for lower than raw prices. You can pick those up. That's what I did to finish a lot of my Invincible run, was finding slabbed copies of 8.5s or 9s or 9.2s, and a lot of times they would go for less than the near mint raw copies would be, and I could crack them, have them part of my reading book, or just leave them in the slab if I had a trade or something like that. But these specifically were actually purchased because these books, and you're not always going to be able to tell this if you're buying online, but if you're going to the store, these books had not been pressed prior to being sent off to be graded. Now, this book in particular was sealed in a poly bag, and that poly bag had a seam on the back of it. So if they stacked these books on top of each other, like they did when they were to be shipped from Diamond Direct, it would put a crease down the front of the book. That crease would greatly reduce the grade of these books, but can be pressed out. So I'm going to see if I can get it on the camera here. I think you can see it in the light. This is the 8.0. If I can get it just right in the light, I think we can get it on there. Oh, I thought we could here. Let's see if I bring it into the light source. Well, let's see. I'll probably edit this down so you don't just watch me do this for minutes at a time, but I'm pretty sure it's there. Well, I know it's there. I'm pretty sure I can get it to show up on the screen. There we go. Got that light on it. You can see it right there. See that really deep crease right in the middle of that book? That is that polybag line. And as you can see, get that light back on it here again. There it is again. Goes from the full length of the book, top to bottom. And then even on our 9.0 here, get that one, there it is, all the way top to bottom. Now, in the modern age, a lot of people will be pressing books and stuff like that, so it's not super common to find books that have not been pressed, but it does happen. And some of the books that you're looking at predate whenever pressing was so readily available. Other things you want to look for, that can affect it, and there aren't on these books, but when you're looking at the spines here, there could be spine ticks, but as long as they don't break color, a lot of those can be pressed out. I've got another one here that I've already cracked open. It was the Invincible Iron Man 7, so this is the first appearance of Riri Williams. As you can see, it was an 8.5. The book is here. Let's see if I can get it close enough here. In the bottom corner, right down here, I don't know if I'm going to be able, there it goes. You have a crease in here. It does not break color and stuff like this. And on the back, see here, that can be pressed out, and that makes a huge increase in the grade for this book. So this book at an 8.5, I picked it up for 50 bucks, already slabbed and graded. Was able to crack it if I can get it pressed, which we'll see the results in the second half of this video when we flash forward here into the future. That particular book is going for, as of today, which is April 16th, is going for about $300 in a 9.8. So if they can press that, and that's the only defect that I can see on the book, and it comes back at that 9.8, obviously we've added an additional $250 worth of value to the book with pressing and grading fees, roughly around $30. Even if it comes back at a 9.6, there's still a huge option on there. Now, it's even larger for these Ultimate Fallouts. Now, for these particular books, I picked up all three of these for roughly $1,300 plus tax on these books. And right now, in a CGC 9.8, they're selling for right around $3,000 a piece. And in a 9.6, they're at about $1,400 a piece. And then obviously, hopefully, the intent is after they get pressed and come back, the miles hype will have taken them even higher. Now, I'm fairly confident the 8.5 and the 9.0 have real shots at a 9.8. The 8.0 does have a very small color breaking spine tick. Not impossible for a 9.8, but I'm expecting it to probably come back at a 9.6. And again, still, I think we paid $300 for the 8.0. So, a 9.6 going for $1,300. It's kind of a no-brainer on what to do with that. So that is why we have purchased these books, is because of that opportunity there. I was able to hold these in my hand prior to purchasing them to see that there were some pressable defects. But again, like if you're going to your local comic shop or going to a convention and you see books on the shelves that are modern era books, the grades look a little bit lower than maybe they should be for a modern era book, ask to look at it, get it in some good light, see if there are any pressable defects on the book before you kind of write it off as just an out of condition book. So the next thing we're going to look at is how to get these open. Now, if you've done anything with like smaller slabs like we have on the channel for cards, smaller slabs are a lot harder to get into than these bigger slabs are. The seams on them are much longer, which means it's much easier to get something inside of them, to leverage them and pry them open. Now, obviously, they do show it very easily. So we are going to take, the only thing I use is this little bitty flat head screwdriver. It's going to fit right down in the seam. Kind of turn it sideways and leverage it to get it a little bit further down in there. Promise you it's not as hard as it looks. You can do it with a larger flathead screwdriver as well. This one works fine, but it's whatever you have at the house. Once you get it down in there, you can kind of take it around the edges. It's going to hear a lot of cracking at that point. It's going to pop open, and then eventually get enough of it open at the top to where you can get the book out. This will give you another chance to kind of look over the book closer just to make sure. I mean, obviously, you don't want to waste your time. If you find something on the book, you're like, oh, that's not going to press out at that point. But again, even still, like, these books are worth more raw than they're going to be in an 8.0, so we don't have really that stuff here. So as you can see, popped all the way open. down the side. Just be careful not to hit the book while you're prying if you do have a longer screwdriver. So kind of pop right open. I'm trying to show you this here. Hopefully I don't smack myself right in the face just to show you what's going on here. And then the book, if you did not know, encapsulated on the little sleeve here. We're going to save the little tags on them. Plastic sleeve. I guess if you really wanted to reuse it for something in your PC, just to keep it safe, I toss them. But recycle if you want to. Now on these sleeves here, these are sealed sleeves the whole way around. Now the top and does have the most room. If you can see up there, there's a little bit of a space between the top of the book and the vacuum there. For this, you just take a pair of scissors. You can use an X-Acto knife. I don't like to use an X-Acto knife because your hand slips. I don't want to go into the book. But even with a pair of scissors, you want to make sure that you are super careful because there's only about a quarter inch of, well, not even a quarter of an inch worth of room in there. So you really want to make sure you go nice and slow across the top here. Like I said, there's not a lot of margin for error. Not the time to be hasty. Okay, so we got that open. And then just be careful, especially on these older books. The edges will be a little rough on the top, so don't just yank it out real fast, as you can scratch the surface of the book. There we go. Take it out in all of its glory here. And let's see if we can check that book out again here. So again, you can see that crease goes all the way down the book. Another thing too, if you do find one online and you're really interested in it, you can get grader's notes on these books with the product number that's on there. Again, there's that. If you can see it even on here, it's so tiny. That little bitty color breaking spine tick right down there. Look at the back here. See if we. So there's that line again, all the way down the back. So that is what we're hoping presses out of these books to increase it. So we've got this one here. We're going to bag that and board that one. We're going to send it off. And again, with a book this value, you're going to want to use a professional grader. Like I said, you don't want to melt the cover. You don't want to press the staples into the pages of the books. That's going to hurt the grade as well. If you are a novice presser, I would not recommend pressing books of this value, especially when the difference between a 9.8 and a 9.6 is $1,500 at this point in time. I would definitely spend the money to send it off to somebody who knows what they're doing specifically. Now, if you have any questions or recommendations for individuals who might do that, make sure you hit me up, leave me comments below, or hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. I'm going to take these books, we're going to send them off, we're going to time hop this video into the future. With turnaround times right now, it could be far into the future, so you may not even recognize me right now.
I think I went a little too far.
All right, I think we are in the right spot now. My package is here, so I guess we're in the right time. Just so you know, I had to skip ahead all the way to September 14th for this package. So you're looking at around a little over a 5-month turnaround for pressing and grading in the standard tier, no less. And some of these books do, depending on condition, get bumped up from that tier, so just be careful whenever you're submitting. So the books are in. Let's see how we did on those grades. Now, for just as a reminder's sake, I kept the tags here. We've got an 8, whoops, bad place to hold it. We've got an 8.0, an 8.5, and a 9.0 Ultimate Fallout 4 that is coming back to us here. Had a lot of submissions coming here lately, which has been like Christmas. I try to do one submission a month, but I feel like I've gotten 4 or 5 submissions back in probably the last 4 to 5 weeks. So I don't know if that means CGC is catching up or just kind of a fluke. I still have some comics out that were submitted even before this stuff was. So excellent packaging as always. Get all this stuff out of the way here. All right. Super side we're looking at here, so don't peek the grade. Okay. We do have the backs here currently. I think that's the right side. Yep. Okay. We've got the first Miles Morales appearance. These that we've pulled out here to get those awesome custom labels because it's Miles Morales. First one up is 9.6. Okay. I don't know if this was which one of these this was. It was the 9.0 or one of the 8.5s or the 8.0. But a big increase. The subscription crease is gone. This does not appear to be the one that had the spine tick. Actually, a really clean copy. I'll throw any graders notes that are on the books up here. If there are any, they're not always grader notes. There might be on the back of the staple here a little bit of a spine stress that's right on top of the staple mark, so that may have been what knocked us out of 9.8 contention. Slab is in good shape. I don't see anything inside of it. So first one, 9.6. Again, even if this is from the 9.0, that is a huge grade bump. Hopefully with some bigger ones to come. Next one here. Okay, we're still facing the right direction for this one. Okay, we've got number 2 again, custom label again. And oh, 9.8. Very, very nice. And again, I mean, this one's got about the same kind of spine stress that last one did around the staple, so I'm surprised this one got a 9.8 and that one got a 9.6. I don't know if that means they were overly critical on the other one or if I just got lucky on this one, but I will take it either way. It's, I mean, a very minor little spot. Like, so this one's got just a hair of color rub over that bottom staple. Very clean book. My personal copy of this book is actually still out being graded as well. At the time when it was first submitted, they had not, the price hadn't really jumped when I submitted it, so it was submitted in the bulk tier. So I'm sure when they get to it, I am going to get upcharged for that particular book. But this, and by the way, this Miles Morales label is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it looked cool on the thing, but just seeing it in person, I don't know if I ever noticed that. I don't know if you can see it in here. Yeah, you can. There's a little Miles Morales face in the sticker there. But very nice. 9.8 on this one. I do not see a spine tick on either one of those. So that means this one here is probably our 8.0. And we'll see how we did on the 8.0. This was the one that was probably in the worst condition of the 3. Just like I said, the spine crease, though, was the big reason why these were pressed. So as long as that's resolved, I do expect a big grade bump on it. And it just had an itty bitty spine tick in the very, very bottom corner. We've got our last one here at a boom 9.6. So yeah, that is the one that has the little spine stress down at the bottom. So we went from an 8.0, I do know for sure on this one, an 8.0 all the way up to a 9.6. Now it's important to keep in mind, when time travel is involved, you do have prices that change as well. When these things were submitted, 9.6s were going between $1,300 and $1,400, and 9.8s were going for $3,000 to $3,200. And now you're looking at probably about 2.6 on the high end for a 9.8, and right around 800 to 900 for the 9.6. So there has been, the book has definitely cooled off quite a bit. There haven't been any Miles Morales announcements, but that market has already been up there. It did hold that point for a while, so I do think that's a safe assumption to assume that it will jump back up to that point if there's any news with the Spider-Man movie that's coming out as far as cameo, illusion, somebody talking on the phone to Miles, or when we start seeing trailers for that Into the Spider-Verse 2 starting to drop. Those, I do expect those to jump back up. So if you don't already have one, it might be a good time to pick one of these copies up. I'll be holding on to these. Obviously, I'm going to keep a 9.8 in my personal collection, and then I'll be holding on to the other ones until we get some more Miles news. It's a safe bet. He's not going anywhere. It's his 10th anniversary this year, so like I said, I think he's here to stay. He's a popular character, and honestly, put some of the best covers out there just due to the hip-hop covers that they put, and the Jordan or the sneakers covers, just all kinds of pop culture stuff that you can use with the character that seems to be selling really well. So I'm excited to have these back in the collection. Super excited for the grade bumps. For these books, I did use the comic presser for these particular books, so huge shout out to him. Again, we had a grade bump from an 8.0 to a 9.6, and then an 8.5 and a 9.0 got bumped up to a 9.8 and a 9.6. So even in today's dollars, we took a $1,300 purchase and put it right around $4,500 in value just by getting them cracked and pressed. So there's a ton of opportunity if you see those out there. Just be careful. These do have dark covers, so any kind of spine ticks are going to be very noticeable. So don't go out there and just start buying up every low-grade Ultimate Fallout 4 that you can, hoping that they just didn't get it pressed. It is not a 100% guarantee, but if you can know for sure and you can see it on there, there's at least an opportunity for a grade bump with a professional press and clean of that particular book. So until next time, Hobby Hero out. I should have checked the prices when I was further in the future.